What's going on? It's another episode of DWE Radio, the radio that's not on the radio. But guess what? We're on Twitch, we're on Spotify, and we're on YouTube, and we're on X Live. Welcome to episode 19, Pay Cuts, brought to you by DWE TV. We're streaming live on the DWE television page, so please give us a follow on XDWE television. How's everyone doing today? We're going to get ready for the SmackDown tonight. We're going to probably talk a little bit about that with me and the Final Boss Baby here today. And also, we're going to tell you guys about some backlash stuff. Some of our thoughts, real quick. We're just going to give y'all guys a little thoughts about that. Not a long episode today. We're just going to give you guys a little something of what we are thinking. Not too much news. I know a lot of people are still a little bummed up about the pay cut, so we're going to give you a little thoughts about that real quick. Run through that today on DWE Radio today. How's everyone doing? Today's a Friday. We're going live on Friday. If you guys want to join us tomorrow, we'll actually be doing I will be doing a watch party with you guys tomorrow. So you guys can join me on Twitch and it will be live on X. I'll probably be live on YouTube. If you want to follow me, subscribe to us on YouTube. That's Talk It Up Podcast on YouTube. Go over there and subscribe to us on YouTube. We got a lot of videos, shorts, inside the NFL Mind of Miami is now. I got like three episodes over there now that you can go and watch if you want to watch that and get my assessment of what I'm thinking about what's going to happen this NFL season. Also, if you want to follow us on Twitch, that's DWE Radio, all in one letter. I did not change the Twitch, guys, so it's still one of the pages is still DWE_watch_along. But I will change that real soon, guys. I'm sorry, I got a little busy. If you want to follow me on X, that's Miami the Great 305 on X. Go over there and follow me on X. Please go follow our DWE TV page. That's our TV page where all of our content creators go live on that page, and you can sit back and watch the beautiful TV shows that we have going on. Shouts out to the producer backstage today. Shouts out to you. Final Boss will be in the studio today. Shouts out to our producer that's in the studio here with us today. First time ever. I think it's the first time for everything for everyone. I think we have a nice little cozy area here. We have our incense, our lighters, our candles going here at DW Radio. Here on a Friday. So that's something we are doing today. So shouts out to everyone. Thanks for everyone coming in, retweeting the live. Like I say, it won't be very long, but let's go ahead before Final Boss get into it. Let's go ahead and get into some thoughts about what happened today. I think we're going to just go ahead and I'm going to get started with what I think the big major talk of today and of the week, everything that happened this week with it coming. We was hearing some things about the pay cuts, about how much the money WWE is making throughout the UFL, not UFL, but UFC. My bad, UFC, and the WWE and the other the money, the amount of money they was making. And I think it kind of made people upset where they was like, well, why you couldn't pay certain people, these people who you let go and release the money that you paid them. And I don't think we understand that. And I understand you had some people say, no, the rest is unionized, but everyone, you got to think about this. when it comes to unionizing. One, you're going to have to get everyone on the same page. That's one. Two, will everyone be willing to do it? Because everyone's situation is different when it comes to the pay and how they're getting paid. Everyone's situation, you got to think about these wrestlers are doing it because they are feeding their family. So you got to understand that when you're doing these cuts, I remember when they did the lockout for the NBA, it was like um, about a month or two. Sometimes everyone's not good with managing their money. So you got to think about, you don't know how long that unionization was going to go. It can go for 1 2 months. Sometimes I've seen some go a year, and you're asking these people, this is the only way to make to unionize the wherever they're wrestling at, to unionize it. And I did hear, I think it was the coach saying that they should do it on everywhere. Every wrestling company should do it. And I was like, well, that's not a good idea, because if they do that, then if I'm not making money over here, where I got to make some money somewhere. I got to feed my family. But TKO is doing, what every company is doing. I did find it funny, and I know a lot of people are not going to like this, but I did find it funny that, it's just uproar now. We have to remember, this is not as many people as Vince McMahon let go. Vince let 100 and some odd people go in 1 year, at one moment. It wasn't like one time. So yes, people lost their jobs, and I don't like when people are released or didn't get resigned, or you don't usually see people get fired anymore. As we used to see, we normally see now that people are not either renewing their contract, or not getting re-signed. Like I say, back when Vince was doing this, usually you see him releasing people around this time. So I feel like we're in I wouldn't say a better situation, but we're better than what we was at, what we used to be at. And I think if people, the wrestlers, start letting their voices be heard, things will maybe change. Because, like I say, it's on them. They're the ones that will maybe control that narrative, and control where things will go with that, with these cuts. Through being, like I say, it wasn't that many. From what I'm understanding, they're saying that there will be no more cuts, which is a good thing. Hey, I'm glad that we're not hearing that. Here, I'm looking at this chart, and I sent this chart to Final Balls, where they were saying that back in 2022, Vince McMahon actually made $12.4 million when he was the CEO of WWE. This was back when it was just WWE. It was not TKO. That's how much money he made. Now, you have the Ari of the TKO, the president of the TKO. I'm looking at it, and he's at number one. He has made, it says $67 million. It doesn't say a point, so I guess it's just a straight 67 million. You have the TKO who was the president, I guess, before Ari. You have a Mark. He made only 43.1 million dollars. Nick Khan made 24 million dollars. And then you have another TKO. He's the CFO of TKO and WWE. He's one of the executives. Aaron. He only has made the company $23 million at the time, and this is all from back from 22 all the way up to now, where you can kind of get the timeline of where everyone, how much money the companies made through who was running it at the time and who was over it until the shares got made. And we all know that. I wouldn't say Did he get forced out? I mean, yes, Vince got forced out because we all know the situation of what happened with Vince McMahon. Um, stuff. So I'm also reading here. It says Nick Khan went from $6 million to $24 million, and says Ari, the president of TKO, went was at $67 million from being over the company. So that's how much money they had made from this when they had took over from Vince McMahon. Like I say, I don't like the cuts, but I know they are necessary because it has happened before. Um, we've seen it happen before. I do know that they do. Okay, the revenue I do. Okay, I pulled it up here. So the revenue that they are making all together, that they have with the WWE, they have made $475.7 million, and with the UFC revenue, they have made 401.2 million dollars, and that's all that's the money they made for both companies because they are over the UFC. If you don't know, Endeavor and TKO are kind of like still over that. You see that Dana White is starting to do his own thing and redo the UFC because we know that Dana White was the face of UFC. I'm just gonna be real about it, but that's how much money they made. I don't have a lot of thoughts about it. Like I say, it's business. I mean, it's been happening since I've been watching this product. It doesn't matter where you go. You can think about TNA, AEW, CCL, um, whatever company it is, there's going to be releases. There's going to be pay cuts because sometimes the company doesn't have enough to pay a certain person, or a certain person is asking for more than what the company feels like they're worth. Is it right? No, but I mean, it's the way of the world and the way of the business. Final boss, if you got any thoughts about the TKO pay cuts, if not, we'll move on to our next topic of today on DW Radio.
Yeah, I got some thoughts. So I did get a chance to go down. The 10 top paid stars and also the salaries of the higher ups from TKO, which is what Miami did read off. And you would be surprised and not so surprised when it comes to those names and those numbers. Now, I did see um your regulars, your main event, your top guys like Roman Reigns, like CM Punk, who are at over a million. I believe Roman Reigns is in the range of 10 to 15 million. The Rock, my husband, The Rock, is at over 20 million, which makes sense because remember, years ago, we know that story that The Rock told us about how, he felt like he should be higher paid and basically McMahon signed off on it when the highest paying person at that time at the company at that time was Stone Cold, and he effectively made um The Rock the highest paying star at 15 million, and that was back in the early 2000s. So really, you're only looking at like a $5 million increase over decades, which shows you that the amount of pay really hasn't increased that much over time because you're 15 million then is over 20 million now. And yeah, he has some extras because he's on the board of TKO, but that's the estimate. We had CM Punk at like around $8 million. Trick Williams is at between half a million to $1 million, which is actually great for someone that is recently now main roster getting a push. But then you have people that's kind of like in the questionable because, it's from that report, it says that Sami Zayn, yes, the Sami Zayn is at $3.5 million. But I did not see the Usos on that top 10 list, which really surprised me. I didn't see. I don't. I don't think I saw Seth Rollins on that top 10 list. I saw Becky Lynch. She was at $5 million. Um, eh, and when I saw Sami Zayn, well, to me, hey, I've never been a Sami Zayn fan, but Sami Zayn is not even worth a million for me. I say close to a million because he's been there a long time. He's a great performer. But as far as his booking wise, couldn't fathom the idea. Apparently, the base pay for main roster is 350,000. So it starts off at least a six-figure salary. Now NXT is on the lower front where they're at between 60,000 and 100,000, which is really really low. They're pretty much at like your upper standard job in America. Um, but you hear that and you're like, well, it does sound pretty good, but we know the other side of that where I might mean mute yourself. I can hear beeps. Um, but you hear the other side of that argument where yeah, they're making millions. I think Liv Morgan is at between 1 and 2 million, by the way, which you know makes sense because she is pretty much the face of the company has been because of the Liv Dom story. But when you also hear, hey, well, they're contractors, independent contractors, so they're not, WWE is not paying for, travel and other travel expenses. That includes, your flights, your hotels, your Ubers or your rental car or your food or your clothes. So there's all these pieces that really play a role into it where, that money starts to dip. And the 50% cut, we're not talking 10%, we're not talking 25% or even 30%. We're talking half. So if someone was making a million, that means they're not a millionaire anymore because they're now down to 500,000. And minusing all of the costs and expenses, like let's say you were a superstar who was making about 1 to 2 million. You're like, hey, I finally have the money to do things, and hey, I want to have maybe a nicer home. Hey, I may want to invest in getting me a tour bus, maybe. Now with that 50% cut, those luxuries kind of go out the window. Um, so it's a big change. Now, it was reported that a lot of superstars were advised of a 50% pay cut. They had 2 days to decide if they wanted to take the pay cut or go. And apparently, from reports, everyone took that pay cut besides the New Day. So it's not like the New Day were forced out. Not like they were forced to be fired. They were just the only ones who did not want to accept the pay cut. And it was reported that they were in the seven-figure salary, so they were somewhere in the millions. What million was the low millions, the high millions? That not quite sure. But even so, I mean, this is where it's gonna hurt. I mean, New Day were around for over 20 years, as wrestlers, so they've been around for a long time. Now we had the 10-year anniversary not too long ago, so that granted, about 10, 15 years plus, they've been active superstars, on the roster. So it makes sense. But also, I mean, at the height of the New Day, they were making WWE a lot of money. We had the cereal, we had, the bootios, with the merch because people love the shirts. Um, people also love action figures. Hey, we remember those times where people were bringing in the action figures and the cereal to SmackDown, waving them in the air. Big E would come out. They would pour cereal in fans' mouths. You go to Walmart, they had those cereals on the shelf itself. They were making a lot of royalties off of the New Day back when they were in their prime, when they had, the unicorns and whatnot. But then unfortunately, things happen. We know about the injury with Big E. We were hoping for the best, expecting the worst, and apparently, unfortunately, we got the worst. Where hey, can he live a normal life? It looks like he can, but he can't do anything as far as physical that can jeopardize his mobility. So so he had no choice but to retire. And since Big E was on that extended break, and we now know he's been retired. Now that was a recent discovery that he recently came out. Actually, I think beginning of the year. Um, they haven't been in really a main card feud, besides, of course, the greatest rivalry with the Usos. But they have not had that same oomph to them. Their 10-year anniversary with the, we know, with the turn being heel, Biggie appearing, it did not go anywhere. It was no follow through. They haven't felt like a big deal in quite some time. Now, granted, they are very talented. There's no doubts about that. We've seen what they can do, but they were not positioned on the card to be a main eventer. And we know we weren't doing the bootios anymore. We weren't doing any of the stuff that made WWE all this money anymore. So you're not bringing in that revenue. So honestly, and hey, you do what you want to do, what you want to go ahead and say. But hey, in my opinion, hey, I'm saying you guys are worth every dime, but when you stop making money for a company, you are going to see a cut. So for me, it's crazy to believe that New Day, as great as they is, did not see the same way as WWE. You guys are not making that money anymore. You guys are not selling tickets out anymore. You guys are not used prominently on the card. They're sticking with Grayson Waller. I mean, it is. I mean, they haven't been used properly in years, and that's not New Day's fault. They were just victims of circumstances. But you also got to understand and say, hey, your that revenue is not coming in. It's not worth a seven figure investment on a team that's barely being used. You guys are being used as if really Damian Priest and R-Truth, maybe even less than. I mean, and that's the reality. I mean, you don't hear no one saying, "Hey, I want to see the New Year today," like because we haven't heard that in years because they haven't been booked, to be main eventers anymore. They just haven't. And I feel bad because a lot of it has to do with, Biggie getting injured and they're really losing that oomph. But, and, they did the best what they could with what, they were given. But I mean, you're not bringing that revenue. We're paying out, but we're not seeing our money come back in from you. So of course you're going to expect to have, that pay cut. Um, and I felt TKO/WWE felt the same way because, as we know, yes, a lot of pay cuts, went around. We don't know the names of superstars who were part of that pay cut list, but we did hear reports that it did not include your higher ups in the card, like the Roman Reigns and like CM Punk. It included your second level stars, which we heard of, that had been the main events but weren't considered to be a top player, and those that are in the middle and they're beyond. Because again, you are not bringing in that revenue. Someone that is making money deserves to make money. If you're not making money, then you don't deserve to make that kind of money. That's just the reality of it. And people could say, "Hey, that's really a bad take," but hey, you you know if you have a job, you would know that top performers are the ones who get the money, right? When you work a job and it's time for your annual review, well, what do they tell you? Well, depending on how your review goes, depends on how your raise goes, right? I mean, now granted, it's probably cents to a dollar because that's America, but that's how it works. They're not going to pay the least performer. How would you feel if you had two people where one person is a top performer meeting the company standards, which in turn is making the company money, whatever the company might be, and you have somebody else that is there, but doing the job, but not really doing it on the level that the company wants. Does that mean it's still going to be there? Probably, but are they going to ask for a raise? If they ask for a raise, the boss is going to say, well, for us to get you this raise, we need to see improvement here, here, there, here, here. I mean, that's the reality. And for those who don't make even a minimum, what happens? They go. Now I could argue with the Y6. I feel like the Y6 did bring in a lot of revenue. A lot of people like the Y6, even though the booking was not great. Um, but I it just looks like for them the case where WWE just didn't have any plans with them. And we talked about this when they returned because hey, their gimmick is a harder gimmick to book, right? Like when it's this mysterious, type of gimmick, which can be good, but it has to be done with the right kind of booking and the right kind of setup where you don't want them to be too strong because then it gets boring, but you still want to keep them to be mysterious. So it's kind of a hard thing uh, to book. Like it's the kind of booking where you gotta have, someone that has done it before and they have a whole plan out about where they want the story to go that can really invest their time into it. Or, hey, have people have different ideas close to what the story was to help it expand. And if you don't have that, then that kind of gimmick unfortunately doesn't really go anywhere. That's the issue with these mysterious gimmicks. And I feel bad for superstars that were let go. I feel bad for those who had to do a pay cut, but you also gotta think about reality and think about where you are. And that's in every job. Every job you work for, you have to have a performance. You have to make the company money for them to want to go ahead and give you money. Even the smallest jobs, even if you work at, let's say, at McDonald's, what's McDonald's rule? Everybody knows that McDonald's is on a timer when it comes to the drive-through. Because when you go to that drive-through, they're like, "How can I help you? How can I help you?" And because they're on that timer, and if your order takes a while because you want fresh fries, whatever the case may be, they're gonna tell you to go ahead and pull forward. Why? Because they're costing money. They're gonna go ahead. They're gonna pull somebody from that drive-through if that person cannot manage taking your order and taking your money all at once. If they can't do it, you're costing us money because now I gotta bring in a secondary person to do a job that I designed for one person. So I mean, there are all these pieces that come into play. And hey, I'm a big fan of watching documentaries about companies, about where they fail and where they succeeded. Is one of my favorite things to watch in my spare time. And one of the things that I watched when it came to fast food was about fast food chains like McDonald's. I watched this actually a while ago. But the reason why they was paying um, employees such low wages. We all talked about the low wages at fast food restaurants, which it has changed. There's regulations like that in California now. But the initial idea was, hey, if we have a smaller menu and we assign someone to just do one job where everything is we're cutting corners. So everything is coming kind of pre-made and frozen to have them do less work because we can argue, we can pay you less because hey, you're doing one job and it's not additional steps into this job. That's why the menu is so small. There's things behind things like that. You go to a restaurant, it's gonna cost you a bit more because hey, that meat probably not gonna be frozen. Hey, they have to go ahead and cook that on the grill. Go ahead, customize that order, things like that. That's why, it costs a little bit more than going to a fast food chain where it's a blanket. So you kind of have to apply when it comes to WWE that same mindset of a job in the regular world. WWE, they're sports entertainment. Yes, they're sports driven, but they're entertainment focused. And they work close to what that corporation works to. It's not like anything else like it. Um, but it is unfortunate. But the good news is that it was also reported. I think I saw it yesterday, today, or maybe early on today, where for now WWE is done with releases. They are done with cuts, so that's a good thing. We don't have to worry about anybody else losing their job as of right now. Um, but the other piece to that is when they do their cuts, they also do what? They have a lot of people come up to the main roster. We've seen people come up to the main roster like, Soruka, and JC. So with that being said, when they move up people up to the main roster, yeah, it makes space. You can't just hoard a whole bunch of superstars on top of that. If WWE had no cuts and they once moved to the main roster and there was no cuts whatsoever, that roster would be what? Bloated. And then a lot of stars would not be used. They'll be stuck in limbo, not being used because we don't have enough TV time. Yeah, we have 2 and 3 hours, but is it enough to get through that entire roster or actually have storylines that actually matter? People actually want to go ahead and view and see, with a roster of 300 people. on Raw, 300 more on SmackDown if we just never released anyone. That's not realistic. So that's also that piece of that as well. Is that usually when they release, they usually have call ups, and we have seen that this year as well. For superstars, there are a lot of options out there now. We're in 2026. WWE is not just the only guy around. Thank God. So they can go somewhere else and probably be successful in those other companies. Um, and let's be honest. I mean, New Day was around for a long time. It was a long running tag team, very long, over 10 years. And I say, hey, those 10 years plus the solo career that, Kofi was doing, before joining New Day, same thing with Xavier Woods, pretty damn long career. And at what point, I don't know the ages of them. I would assume to be in their 40s, but at what point, you're looking at, maybe winding down now. So that's also a key piece to that. I mean, how long have you been at your job? You been at your job for about 20 years? I mean, I know I haven't. Now granted, I can't retire because hey, we're in America and it's like 67. I'm nowhere near 67 years old. I gotta work regardless. But I mean, but for a profession like wrestling and sports and things like that, that's where we are modeling. Um, that's where we are. But that's all I got on cuts, man. If you have anything else you want to add, or do you want to move on to maybe predictions?
No, you did perfect. I feel like what you said was perfect. Like I said, I think the main thing we have to remember that this is something that has been going on in WWE for quite some time. I know every time some of if one of our favorites go away, we get frustrated. You see how I was last week when we did DW
Hmm.
Radio. I was shocked about this New Day news. I was one that I kept saying before we went live, the New Day.
The fucking new
Um,
day, yeah,
I kept saying that, and I was like, and that I
yeah.
think that was just because I was at a place where I feel like they had a lot of more to show, and I wherever they're going to go, I'm pretty sure they're going to show that. But
But it's
I didn't.
important to remember, hey, they weren't let go. They were let go because they
Yeah,
were really the only ones to
yeah,
choose not to take that pay cut, which
yeah,
is their
yeah,
right. I want to make that clear. That's their right. You don't have to take a
yeah,
pay
yeah,
cut.
yeah, yeah.
If you think you're worth more, then hey, then there's
You
pastures.
think?
But hey, WWE, they still found value clearly in the New Day because they were not released like the
Yeah,
Wyatts
yeah,
were or like Selena Vega, Aleister Black were. They was offered that pay cut. They decide not to. They still saw a lot of value in the New Day, just not the value at this time where they were. And then that doesn't mean if you take a pay cut that you're never going to see that pay go up ever again. When your position in the card changes, then of course you might see a pay increase. But
yeah. And I
yeah.
think a lot of us got to remember too, final boss, is that um like you said, and I did run down all the money, and I was trying to make people understand that you got cameramen, you have people on commentary. There's a lot of people to pay, so all this money that we're seeing is not just going on wrestlers. We got to think about the people who are in the back, the people who we
Hmm.
don't see, who you do see.
Yeah, stage
When
hands,
the people
your
who
your corporate employees.
exactly. The people who when I do deliveries, that company that I'm delivering to, they
Hmm.
pay the company I work for. So that's how I
Hmm.
get paid. I don't get paid until that delivery is done. So people got to
Yeah,
understand that too. So sometimes a person might be, getting paid until that job is done. You never know. It's a lot of jobs that are out there like that. So I
yeah.
think we
And
have to
one,
keep that in mind too.
yeah, and one thing I want to talk about, and I'm glad that you brought up, about people that we don't see, is you talked about it earlier about that pay scale when it came to um, the upper people of TKO, and they were comparing it to Vince McMahon, who was getting paid an estimated 24 million, which is a long shy from some of the figures we're seeing now in the 60s and stuff million. But remember, hey, McMahon was a billionaire. That is something that we all knew. Hey, he went around saying it, but we don't know what other assets he had to contribute to that. So he can probably take that pay cut on WWE side and use that towards his company, WWE, because one, remember, it was handed down from him from his father, from McMahon Senior. So I'm pretty sure there was some what do you call it?
Money left
Um,
over.
well, inheritance there. Yeah,
Oh
some
yeah,
inheritance
inheritance.
there.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So there's there's a piece like that, and then we know what we found out about the split up between him and Linda. But we knew Linda McMahon was, she's involved with politics. Also, McMahon openly was, involved with politics. So there's a lot of elements to McMahon's where there's other sources of income besides WWE. And also, let's be honest, McMahon was doing it for like 40 years. Um, TKO, they just bought WWE a couple years ago. Um, I don't know what their previous jobs were before being the executives here. So that I don't know. If you know, please say so in the comments. I don't know if they came from a good background of having someone in their family that was millionaires and billionaires. We don't know that piece. We don't know what else they dibble and dab in besides just the UFC stuff and WWE. So we don't know. I mean, I should say we. I should say I don't know. What other sources of income that they have coming in individually is also a thing. So it's a little bit different. For them. Like you look at John Cena. John Cena is an example. Like John Cena, he's doing movies on one side. He's an ambassador for WWE on this side. But we also see him do other things. Like he's doing commercials for cars and stuff now. So there's all the pieces. Another example outside WWE is Shaq. We all know about Shaq. Shaq, he did stuff in sports, basketball. Then he kind of moved over to being a guy doing all the commercials, Gold Bond commercials, HP commercials. He had the Shaq shoes, but he had it for good reason. He had the Shaq shoes, so where where's all this additional income does it lie for TKO? Do we have all these tangible assets we can kind of tap into? We don't have. I mean, McMahon, we know about the XFL. He started up and then it fell, tried again, and it fell off again. And it was a big hit, but he could take that hit because he had all the different sources coming in as far as income for him. I don't know what's the same story with TKO and WWE now. I mean, look at Triple H. We know Triple H story. We know he used to be a WWE superstar. Of course, married Stephanie McMahon. So, here's that. But, unfortunately, he has medical issues. The career was technically cut short because we never got a retirement match for him, technically on record on the books. And I don't think it's expected for him to retire the way he had to. But we all know why. He had that medical heart issue. Um, but we know his background was just WWE superstar, was heavily pushed, did have a lot of nice runs, as a group, DX and Solo, by himself, not Solo Sikoa, I mean, just by himself. And of course, having, you know, his pretty much last group Evolution. He had a really good run and then transitioned over to being this figure in WWE. But I don't know the story for the other people that's on this board, so there's pieces to that. Um, and I think we have to remember that when we say, hey, McMahon was making, a very modest um, uh, amount of the WWE and wasn't draining them. I'm not saying TKO is not draining them, but I'm saying like, hey, McMahon, we know for a fact have other assets coming in, so you can kind of, invest more into the company. Um, and we also knew the stats of WWE before McMahon had to resign. We knew that things were down and that he was looking for a buyer. We knew that when the man was there, he was looking for a buyer. And ultimately went to TKO. We heard things about Fox and Disney. We heard all those rumors. We even heard Peacock was even a Universal. We heard those stories. We knew that there was some struggles. And we don't know if that man would have stayed if everything didn't happen with the allegations that, if the company would have been in a similar spot or if in a worse spot, depending on who they sold it to. Were they in such TKO? Were they sold it to somebody else? We're hearing the stories about issues going on with Warner Brothers now, right? We know the story going on with NBC, who was the owners of what? Peacock. Um, So it's a tough market out there. I'm not saying it's an excuse for them to cut pay. I'm not saying it's an excuse for them to charge us $1 million for tickets and for a mediocre product. But it is also financially straining.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go ahead and let's get into some SmackDown. We have it SmackDown tonight, Final Boss. We're just gonna get into
Mhm.
it. The Gingerbread Man funeral will be tonight. I know the IWC was so upset. I'm still shocked about this is the baddest thing y'all have seen when it comes to WWE. But maybe I'm getting old. At this point, this might be the first time I'm feeling old. But from what you told me earlier, it seems like they said that TKO is they didn't like the gimmick. They wanted that's why they are getting rid of it. I think I know you was not a big fan of it. I wasn't either. Um, I want them to sort of take Trick Williams serious. We already know how we just seen Kofi Kingston. We all know what happened with him losing his title in less than minutes between Brock Lesnar. Man, oh man, that's the only time he ever won the title. Then we had Big E. He had the title, but we all know what happened with him. So there has not been a credible, I would say that African American that we could say, oh man, this is they have had a great run outside of Rock, but we know Rock is black and Samoan. But we're just saying like just straight African American.
Booker
No
T,
one has had that.
Mark
Great,
Henry.
I would say, but I mean, I don't think people would you put him in that great category. Booker T and Mark Henry, and no
Definitely.
disrespect to Mark Henry, I
I
love
don't know.
Mark
I,
Henry.
I don't know. I don't know about Gray, but I know definitely well deserved legends.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, yeah, they are real well deserved legends because I remember Mark Henry telling the story that if he would have never got hurt, I think it was a
mhm.
WrestleMania or before WrestleMania, he was saying Vince was pitching him, and I could be having a story wrong that he was supposed to have been the one to defeat the Street first before there was a Brock, and that was like early, and I was like, man, that would have been crazy. That's how high Vince was on him, but I think he had injured his shoulder because he went to a ring post or something like that, and it kind of shortened his his run. I think same thing with Kofi Kingston. They were saying that the whole ordeal with him and Randy when he supposed to did a move and Randy. I remember everybody was saying. Remember he was saying stupid, stupid, stupid. That was back young Randy, and that kind of slacked Kofi's run. So I think of them and I can't really think of no one. I love Bobby Lashley's run. He had a few here and there that did start off good, but I'm just saying, like, throughout someone's career, Thunderballs, the only person I can think about is The Rock. And that's no disrespect to Mark Henry and um the other person that you said. That's no Booker T. And like I say, I really when I think of Booker T, I think about WCW. I don't think about WWE. He was I always think about WCW Harlem Heats when he was by himself. I think that was maybe his run, but when he came to WWE, uh, he wasn't that same Booker to me. But it could be me. That's just my assessment, Final Boss. But
I was a
and
big
you,
fan of Booker T. I mean, I loved him as King Booker. I thought it was his best
yeah,
run.
Yeah, I like King Booker. It
him
was
and
alright.
him as real wife Charmel.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I think but I think we're going left on the gingerbread thing. I think the whole idea now is hey, the reason why I'm frustrated with the gingerbread storyline is because hey, they did it as a one off. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
fine because they were making jokes about Sami Zayn, him and Trick Williams and Yachty. Um, and they kind of dragged it on but we're coming out of a place where we came from a very time right around the corner where we had all of these celebrities and we were frustrated because we got the ruin of the Randy storyline because we had all these celebrity involvements. We had Jelly Roll mixed in there. It was overshadowed Pat McAfee. So to come out of WrestleMania with that, and now here we are with this kind of quirky gimmick with someone that is great and as over as Trick Williams is just it's frustrating. It's not a good time. To bring something like this, and we also came off the bat from from having Seth Rollins return with all the masked men. They finally realized, hey, this is not working. It looks more comical than being badass. I think that the whole point of Masked Man is supposed to look very badass. That's why they have them swirl around until ultimately reveal it being Seth Rollins as the leader. But
Mm-hmm.
someone finally realized that hey, this is not coming off as what we envisioned it to be on paper. Um, but to have coming off things like that with the Masked Man, with who was in the box, which hey, we love Danhausen, but at the time we're like, man, the build of that wasn't the right place. Now it was a great debut, well, my favorite entrance by Danhausen. I like that more than coming out in this random coffin looking car thing. But we came off that, and then to go back to having this, and then we also know about they're kind of playing this whole idea with someone on the phone with Jacob. It's just not a good time to do a gimmick like this. Like we've been through so much with letdowns and drop storylines. Remember they dropped the storyline with Adam Pierce and Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker's back, and it's like it didn't even exist. I mean, hell, wasn't the whole story was hey, storyline wise, Braun Breaker was out because he was pushed too hard trying to train, and now he's back, and you don't even hear anything about it anymore. Like we've been let down so much, and it's just having something like the Gingerbread Man. It's just another like, oh, here we go again. You're trying to make something from nothing, and it's just not a good call. So just go ahead and end it. I wish they just would have had it as a one off, would have been fine, but to drag it on like that and turn it into a whole fiasco where it's a comedy gimmick for a funeral of a man dressed up in costume. It just rubs it as being really cheesy and not in a good way for me.
Well, it's crazy because just 2 minutes ago, Fightful Select just posted that Molly Holly will be the producer of this death of the Gingerbread Man segment tonight. Final ball. So that was just reported on that. We was just talking about it. So funny that we were talking about it. They just post that. You remember Molly Holly, right? Oh,
Yes.
okay,
No,
okay,
I did. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
Hall of Famer. Yeah, her. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, we got up next on the agenda. We got
Well,
Tiffany versus.
I also really remember her because remember she had that whole like when she had to go ball like when she lost that match. I remember
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We got Kalani James and Tiffany Stratton. This is for the United States title, Final Balls. Tonight, I don't think there will be a title change. I think this could carry to Clash of Italy because we do not have no women matches. You were so shocked that we don't have no women matches for tomorrow. But I think this will carry on to Clash in Italy. Maybe something weird will happen. Maybe Tiffany will win and they'll let James go back after her again at Clash, and maybe they'll let her win at Clash. Who knows? But really interested on seeing the direction they're going to go with here. I'm glad. It seems like they're splitting off Kalani James from Jillian, and Tiffany. We know that Chelsea, not Chelsea Green, yeah, Chelsea Green. She's dealing with a surgery. She had something dealing with her heart, so I'm pretty sure we probably won't see no stuff with her and Tiffany no time soon. She said she is planning on coming back. I don't know if she's going to be like a manager or she's still going to wrestle. That's going to be very interesting. But it seems like that's the direction they're going with these two young ladies. Just pushing them as single wrestlers now. Final balls. Like I said, I don't see no title change with these two young ladies. Do you have any thoughts about these two young ladies? And we'll move on to our next topic if you don't.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see it. I like Tiffany. Tiffany, as people know, had to grow on me. I wasn't the biggest Tiffany fan. She grew on me. Definitely think she's the hottest person on the roster. Um, physically, that is. Um, Besides Nikki Bella. No one pressed Nikki Bella. But I was shocked when we got the segment backstage, which we all know it was Chelsea Green saying, "I have a birthday present for you," because it was Tiffany's birthday, and she says, "Oh, I can walk again." She stood up. And then we got James and Gilia, and then she said that Tiffany said she wanted to challenge one of them. Well, she's looking at James and Gilia for the championship, and Gillia's like, me, and she goes, no, her. Just pointed to James, and Gillia just said fine. So I believe we may have a turn from Gillia on James, and I think it may cost her the championship opportunity, and then we'll kind of drag that on to um maybe Clash in Italy, maybe Saturday Night Main Event, whatever the case may be. But I see that happening. I think there's going to be a bigger story there. As far as for Chelsea, we found out last week that her ankle was better, but we also found out on the back end that she underwent some type of heart surgery, which is serious to me. And it should be serious. It has to do with the heart. We don't know her condition as far as, if she's ready to come back at that. We're not quite sure, but we at least know there's going to be some rumbling between James, Gilia, and Tiffany Stratton. So I am excited to see this match. I think it's probably going to be one of the highlight matches of tonight. To be honest with you, Miami.
Yeah, it could be because, like I said, it's for the title. We'll see how it goes. Let's go to our next topic here. I know Jacob has been going back and forth on Raw Final Balls. We did see him attack Roman again. Do you think he will address all the things that's been going on and how he's going to go into backlash? Final Balls. Do you got any thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I also see that they're playing off him being on the phone with someone, but it looks like they're saving that part of the story for the SmackDown portion, and they're just kind of putting the whole "I it's my time to shine. I've been the black sheep of the family. I'm frustrated." They're putting that story on Raw, and I think they're trying to wedge that with maybe this phone storyline on SmackDown. But again, I am not a big fan of them rolling the Bloodline story on both brands, just because the Bloodline story is not built enough this time around to to do that. Now, 2 years ago, hell yeah, this now, because we haven't built it up to be that way. I'm not saying it won't get there. I'm hoping that it gets there over time as the story progresses. But right now, I don't think it's big enough to be putting it on both brands. Um, but you probably will see Jacob say something today, because Backlash is tomorrow. We're on a go home show. I don't believe Roman is advertised for the night. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's advertised for the night, is he?
No,
Um,
no, not on
Okay,
SmackDown.
so yeah, so I guess we'll hear some final words from Jacob, and he's probably gonna talk about how he's gonna dog walk Roman. And then that's what we'll get from him. Which, hey, it does make sense as far as his storyline, as far as his character. His character has always been him being the outcast. We've seen this story initially start with him and Drew McIntyre, so they're really continuing this character development for for him, which I kind of like. It is technically long term storybooking, but I think tonight from Jacob, we just get him saying, hey, he's gonna get everything that comes with being the champion. He's gonna get all the good schools for his children for because apparently he has 7 children. He's gonna get basically the head of the table, the tribal chief, the OTC style treatment. He's gonna show everyone you know what y'all passed up. He's probably gonna have some interaction with Solo and with Tonga. And it's probably gonna end up with him beating down Solo, beating down Tonga, and saying that he's gonna dog walk Roman Reigns tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Let's go ahead and let's get into this last thing. We're going to talk about these backlash petition final bosses. I'll give you the card. I'm gonna let you go first and give me your picks of who you think is gonna win. If you want to tell me why you pick that person, you can. If you want to, we'll start off. Let's start off with the biggest thing. I think everyone's waiting for. What do you think John Cena announcement will be tomorrow at Backlash? I think
Man,
that's the
yeah,
biggest one because I think we're
yeah,
more like
yeah, yeah,
you got all the like different stuff. So, what's your thoughts on that?
yeah. Man, I had a million things come to my mind because we keep hearing different pieces. We heard initially when it was first announced by Cena, when he announced it on social media, he said that's something to do with Club WWE. So we're like, oh, okay. But then they tried to hype it up. But we still know that I think the Club WWE is going to launch during Backlash. So that's kind of the idea they've been playing because right now everybody who signed up is on like a waiting list. But then we also heard rumblings about whoever, about well, Cena was saying it was gonna change the lives of all the superstars and of the fans, and that it may not be perfect, but it's gonna change the lives. Is what he said. So I'm like, I mean, what can it be? And then I also go on the timeline. I see him posting things about NXT. So I'm like, is he gonna go be a coach over NXT as an ambassador? Is he gonna be at all? Is he gonna be at more main events as a host or just a figure at main events? Um, or is he gonna just announce that they're gonna have a crazy sale for SummerSlam? Some people have predicted that it may be the location of the Mania after the Mania. Um, but I personally think that it's gonna do something to do with Club WWE, and it's gonna be like a major either discount or they're gonna change platforms about how we watch PLEs. Again,
Really?
yeah.
I don't think they'll move. I think
I think it'll be another option because I want you to remember something that's very important. We are kind
I
of in
don't
the
think.
same place where we were with Peacock. Because remember, Peacock is what available in the US, but it was not available overseas. It's the same issue, ESPN. We're streaming it on ESPN for in the States, but outside the States, they're using Netflix to watch the PLEs. So
I don't know. That'll be because all that money ESPN is. I don't think they would like that final boss. That'll be if they do that, man. That'll be interesting for them to do that, and they got all that money. I don't think, and we know how everything's going on with them at ESPN. I just think it got something to do with Club WWE. That's it. You know how they like hyping up stuff, and it doesn't happen. So we'll definitely have to see Final Boss. I think it's Club WWE too. I did do the wait list. I haven't heard nothing yet. I haven't got no emails or nothing yet. So we're still on the wait list. We have to. I guess we have to wait to Saturday to see um more information. If I do find out something the next time we go live, I will let our audience know. Next but not least, let's go ahead and let's start. I think this we do have a 1 hour of free on ESPN Funnables. I don't know if you knew that or not. And one of the matches will be Trick
Yeah.
Williams versus Sami Zayn. I'm just going to go first. I think Trick Williams retain. I think Yachty will maybe help him out, or Yachty will. They'll finally write Yachty off some kind of way, maybe here, and we'll probably won't see Yachty no more because they have got rid of the Gingerbread Man. I have Trick Williams retaining final balls. I don't have too much happening there. I think this will they're going to have to make a choice to make Sammy go heel final balls. I say after the match, just go ahead and let Sammy beat down Trick and turn him heel. I mean, the crowd is already giving him that heel treatment, so why not? And maybe have Carmelo Hayes come out there and save Trick, and you start building that story between those two final boss. You got any thoughts about your third husband, Trick Williams, and versus Sami Zayn?
Well, yeah. So, yeah, I don't think Trick is gonna lose. I think Trick is definitely gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe might see interference though, but as far as I know, I believe that Carmelo is still out with injury, so I don't think we're gonna see him. Um, I mean, who else was involved with this story that may come out? That I don't know. Or we might just see the. It seems like they're going somewhere with him, and by him I mean Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
because they had interaction backstage, and we had Sammy say, "Hey, we're the last left of the good guys," and Cody had this weird response back where he kept saying, when we're not the same, something like that, kind of like that. Um, I would be very intrigued because Cody doesn't have a match for Backlash, so I would, and we know why, because Cody is reportedly injured. But I would like the idea of Cody Rhodes to get involved in some way.
Really? That would
Yeah, I would say
I'm
he
not gonna
calls
lie,
he calls Sami Zayn.
mm, it would be interesting because Cody's not on the card final ball, so I mean, why not? I mean, to see Cody there, I think fans will get caught off guard. In some kind of capacity, why not? I mean, this is a SmackDown match. So I do agree with you on that. I mean, who knows? I mean, Cody might just come out and distract Sammy, and you get a story there. Who knows? The second match that we will have is on the free hour two fighter boss. I don't know if you knew this or not. It's actually Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. I was leaning a little more to Seth because he did lose at WrestleMania, but I was like, well, maybe they're gonna further this story because Seth was asking the I was gonna say New Day Street Profits that they are both fighting the same fight, and he does need their help, but the Street Profit was like, no, we're doing our own thing. So I think Seth will lose. I think Breaker will win because first he's came back. We got to start back building up Braun Breaker, and two, I think will further the story of making Seth starting to build him a group. I think the Vision comes out and helps Seth Rollins. I mean help Braun Breaker in this match, final boss, and that's how you get Seth to start getting more help too. If you ask me, I got Breaker winning this match. What are your thoughts about Breaker versus Seth?
I think Breaker wins. The Vision gets involved somehow. I think really they should move on from the Breaker and Seth storyline. Like, I know we were all excited initially when Breaker was out about where we were going with the whole Seth thing, but I feel like it felt flat for me. I think Breaker still looks good. He still looks strong, but I think the feud is it's just not there for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. It seems like it's something missing. I think that we'll get something to further the story to make it go where you add more people. Could they? start building up a team for
Hey,
War
more
Games.
people. What people are they gonna add?
Well, you got street profits in there. They say they want to go for the
uh,
division for their title. So I don't know, Final Boss. I mean, maybe I don't know. You know how they do. You know, you got to fill in a little time here for Clash because we got like 3 PLEs in this month alone. So maybe they're gonna do something real quick to just build up that story to go into Clash. We can't forget about Clash in Italy. It's supposed to be at the end of this month. Now I don't know who they're gonna have on main event. It might be don't be that many matches, but we will
well,
have
what
to
three
see.
PLEs do we have? Is it Saturday Night Main Event? It's also
Well,
this month as well.
we are doing Backlash tomorrow, and then we got main event, and then we got Clash in Italy in this month. So
Oh, okay.
those are your three right now, and that's why I say maybe they'll just do something to try to build that card up already, which would be smart. I mean, why not? Like I said, those are the first two matches for the first hour. Then we're gonna go into, I guess, will probably be the next match after that. It'll probably be Io Sky and Asuka final boss. I think this is another feud. You said it for the last feud. I think this needs to be the end of it.
Well, then hold on, because that takes away what I said. Because yeah, that means there is a women's match on there. There's Io Sky versus Oscar, so there is a
Yeah,
women's match on Backlash.
yeah, I
Oh my
just
gosh,
realized that. I
that
looked at.
was me.
I didn't realize it too. I was like, no, I don't think so. But I forgot about this feud because, and we're already asking, for the end. But I think because they did it so long with Kyra Sane, we all know that Kyra Sane was released from the first releases that we had. Oh, was the first one or the second one? It was one of them because they came back to back. But she was released,
The first
and we
one.
were still okay. We're still following this story, and I feel like Io should win this match, and you can put her back into that United States title picture because I feel like we do need some more people because I know Becky is supposed to be fighting probably Roxanne or someone who's gonna challenge her. I don't know what they're doing with Maxine Dupree. It seems like they're doing stuff with her in the back. Maybe bring her back into the story of going for that title because I feel like we put the title back on Becky. I think we do need to start having new people start carrying it and going for it. Becky has done what she has done for it. We know AJ Lee has just dropped it, but I feel like it's time for someone else to go for it, and I think EO needs to be that next person. I would love to see EO as champion, and see where they will go with it on that. I got EO winning Final Boss. You got any thoughts about this match and who you got winning?
Yeah, I got Io Sky winning this match. It kind of sucks that this is where we are now, and we all know why we are at this story. It's because they released Kyrie, um,
Yes.
and so
Hmm.
we're not getting the story that we really want. The story that's been building up literally for months. The story that's been building up what before WrestleMania. You know, um, so we kind of got this revamp story where it's just Oscar and Io Sky, and they're doing great work. That pre-recorded promo that they had was really good. We saw um Oscar hit Io Sky with the miss. With the miss, and we saw Adam Pearce run in. But it just feels very empty because we're not getting the story that we were invested into. I think this is just a way for them to finally kill off this story, and let Io and Oscar do other things. Unfortunately, because I think they wanted just to kind of move past the story that we were invested in with Kyrie, and I think this is the way just to kill it off. To be honest with you, I think the next thing we're gonna see, I'm not sure where um Oscar goes, but I'm pretty sure there's probably gonna be something to do with Io and Rhea. Now I guess they can move on to finishing out that story. Um, but yeah, I think this is the way just to kind of kill kill the story between Io and Oscar. I think this is gonna be the last match in that story, and I'm going for
Yeah.
Io.
Yeah. Do you think there's a possibility we might see Kyrie Sane return like how they did something like with R Truth that one time?
No, I don't think like if it was a different time period, yeah. But I think based on what everything that we've read about, TKO, where they are financially, and and about re-signing of executives and pay cuts and everything we talked about at the beginning of the show, I don't think that they're gonna bring back anyone who was on that list.
Yeah,
Now, if they would, it'll be a shock of the night if they did, but I don't think they
yeah,
are.
yeah. It's something. This PLE, and we know how backlash is. Normally, we get returns, and we did see. And we talked about this last week. Normally, when you get a return or a debut, well, it's not a return. The debuts, the person gets released the next year. So, um, I think people are safe when it comes to returns. We're gonna get these tag team match final boss. It will be the Miz and Kit Wilson versus your favorite Danhausen in a mystery partner final boss. Um,
Yay!
we
Yay!
have been we put out that it could be John Cena. We put out that it could be now we didn't say this on air, and I don't want to steal your your pick of who you thought it was. I did see Jelly Roll. I think I mean maybe it could be, but they were saying that some of the celebrities were not done. But how things went with Jelly Roll and the end with Rennie, I don't think it's Jelly Roll final boss. I don't know who could be his mystery partner.
Well,
I
it's
say
well,
oh go
it's
ahead.
heavily favored to be CM Punk, but I'm also throwing up the idea. Well, I've heard it could be either CM Punk, maybe Sheamus, but I'm more geared towards the idea of either Matt Cardona or LA
Hmm.
Knights.
Yeah.
I want it to be um John Cena, but he's so focused on this announcement. I don't know if we're gonna get that now.
I think it's either going
Um,
to be I think it's going to be the AA superstar I think it's what's
Ooh,
his name, the
you
AA
mean,
guy
man? Don't say people don't know the
with
name.
with
You mean
with the lizard
Mr. Iguana?
iguana. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. I don't know. It could be Iguana, Mr. Iguana, or it could be Shane McMahon. Here comes the money. They said
Shane
somebody
Mc.
who
Well,
loves money.
yeah, they did say someone who loves money. I'm like, who the hell loves money besides Shane McMahon and Ted DiBiase? I'm like, I'm so confused.
Hey, them the two I can say. So why not fight about huh? You think so? No?
Well, for which one? For Ted DiBiase or for Shane McMahon?
No, way. We definitely know it ain't gonna be Ted DiBiase. We saying Shane McMahon, or probably Mr. Iguana Man. I think it'll probably be one of those two.
Well, if it is Shane McMahon, this will be, and he hasn't wrestled in years since he took that coast to
Well,
coast
last
off
time,
the top of the
yeah.
staircase.
Well, no. Last
But
time we see him was when Snoop Dogg had to step in for him at that WrestleMania when he did his
uh-uh,
quad. Yeah, he did the
uh-uh,
quad. He
uh-uh,
did Black
uh-uh,
Man's Day.
no, no. His last match was when he jumped off the freaking cage. You don't remember? I think it was against Kevin Owens or The Miz. It was one of those two.
No, I thought the last one was with him and when Stu Dog had
Let
to
me go
step in for him.
Google. Be right back.
Okay, I could be wrong, but I could have swore that's the last time we seen him. And that was like recent because that when I think the Miz was hosting, if I'm not mistaken, because I think they was trying to do a angle with Miz, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I thought that was the last time we seen him because Shane's been in like a lot of different times, popping up and popping in and popping back. But I have while Final Boss is looking that up, I have Danhausen and his mystery partner winning. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter. I think they are still going to win because Danhausen. Matter of fact, Danhausen is undefeated. Watch out, Asuka. Watch out, Goldberg, because here comes Danhausen because he's right now undefeated. He hasn't lost a match yet. So Goldberg might
Oh
want to be
shoot.
afraid.
Okay. Well, give Miami his flowers. You're 100% right. It was
Oh, look at that!
WrestleMania.
I didn't Google that. Look at that. Because I thought I was like, that got to be the last time we seen him. Which WrestleMania was it? Oh,
It
did we
was the
lose my boss?
WrestleMania 39. It was 39.
Okay,
And
so
yeah,
recent.
it was
Okay,
supposed to be him doing stuff with the Miz, and Snoop Dogg had to step in
okay,
because he tore his quads. Yeah. And
yeah,
WrestleMania
okay. I thought
39,
so.
you're right. It was not that long ago because, yeah,
Not
he
that
is.
long ago, because I was like, it was not too long ago, and I was thinking like maybe I could be wrong because Shane likes to pop up and pop in, and pop back. So I was like, maybe I could be wrong. I thought I got my WrestleManias mixed up, but I said I had Dan Housen and his mystery partner winning Final Boss. Who you have winning this match, and we'll move to our last match before we get up out of here today.
Yes, I have Danhausen, whoever's partner was winning. Because Danhausen is super over. They're not gonna have that man lose.
Yeah,
That man is literally that man. And hey, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. What he's doing right now, as far as like royalties, when I'm talking about merch and things like that, he is doing for merch what New Day was doing. You all know how he felt about the New Day shirts and the dolls and the cereal. That's what Dan Housen is doing as far as merch sales. His merch sales are incredible right now, and he's so over. He's the most over thing in the company. And they're not gonna have that man lose. That man's gonna win every match until really really until he fizzles out. But yeah, he's gonna win. He's too much of a fan favorite to lose, especially at a PLE. Technically his first PLE because he just for the Rumble he just kind of came out. But yeah, he's gonna win. There's no doubts about that.
yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how they're gonna go with that and who's gonna be his mystery partner. Last but not least, the main event final boss. We have Jacob Fatu, the Samoan Werewolf, one of my favorites. We have two of my favorites in this match, and the OTC Roman Reigns going for the heavyweight title. I have Roman winning because he just won, but I think this will be a great match. It's going to be a good match, final boss. It's going to probably put Jacob probably over, but I still have Roman winning. I don't know where we go from here because I do know that Roman will be at Clash in Italy. We do know that he won't be at the Night of Champions PLE, but he will be at Clash. So I don't know where we go from here. I don't suspect no debuts. I don't really see nobody maybe coming out trying to help. Maybe Solo, so they can probably do some type of stuff because lately they've been doing some stuff with Jacob and Solo. With Solo is trying to help Jacob and things doesn't go right, and maybe they do something with Jacob and Solo after that. But I don't think no one probably come out. If Solo doesn't come out, I don't think no one comes out because lately we haven't seen the Usos come out not once to help Roman. So I think he goes into this alone and wins alone. And I think Jacob does the same thing, final boss. I have Roman winning, retaining the championship, the World Heavyweight title. You got any thoughts about this match, final boss? You might have stepped away right quick, guys.
Um, and I'm
Okay.
here. I I wanted to say that maybe Solo gets involved in some magnitude because, as you know, Solo is a big part of this story. But because it's Roman, it, they don't really like besides what we got with, the Rock stuff, Final Boss rules, but WWE doesn't really like the idea of people getting involved in Roman matches. So I don't know because of that. Now, I feel like Roman is going to retain. I don't think he's going to lose to that freaking backlash against Jacob. I mean, Jacob is great. But I don't think we're going to see him drop it to Jacob. I'm sorry. I just don't, especially not here. Um, but, and I think that he's going to win clean. Um, if it was a regular TV match, which we don't get TV matches from Roman anymore, but if it was a regular match, I would definitely argue Solo would get involved some way somehow, maybe bring a Tonga with him. But because it's a PLE, because it's Roman, WWE doesn't like people interfering in Roman matches. I think he just gonna win clean.
Yeah, I think the same thing too, Fighting Balls. We're 10 minutes in before we get to SmackDown, guys. Thank you guys for joining us on DWE Radio, the radio that's not on Twitch. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to us. Go to YouTube. Go to Talk It Up Podcast
Radio,
on
radio,
YouTube. Subscribe to us.
radio and
Like,
TV
comment. Yeah, DW. Shouts out to DWTV. That's
and radio,
DWTV. We're on. That's DWE Television for all the content that goes live
television.
on there. So go give that a follow on X. Go give DWE Radio on Twitch a follow. I do have the other Twitch up, which I'm going to change that to DWTV. I'm going to do that while I'm watching
I'm not
SmackDown.
on there.
I'm
I'm
going
not
to do
on there.
that. Well, we actually that's the old page. That was the watch
Oh,
along page. It's back, and I have it back connected to it because we actually have more people on that end. So I'm just going to switch the name, and I'll add that down to the banner below. Please go give me a follow on X. That's Miami the Great 305 on X. Please give me a follow. You want to put me on notification? Go ahead. Please give my co-host a follow. That's Final Boss Baby CFO. That's two B's, one Y CFO on X as she leaves the studio, and I guess she had to go because we got to go. So she was like, "I'm out. My job is done." But go give her a follow on X, and also like I said, please go give the DWE TV page a follow on X. And other than that, guys, I'd like to thank you guys for coming. We are at 1,116 people on the live. So shouts out to everyone who has came in and joined us for our first, I think, 1 hour show ever on DW Radio Final Ball.
hey,
So look at
hey,
that.
hey, hey,
We're
hey.
we're record
We
bearers.
are taking the WWE's example because we're going down 2 hours on SmackDown. So hey, WWE can cut it. We got to cut ours too, man.
Oh Lord. Well, we was at 3 hours, so we took
Well,
we cut major
literally.
hours. Like
Well,
I said,
yeah,
guys,
yeah. We're at an hour and 35 minutes. So
y'all
yeah,
go
well,
enjoy.
we're like SmackDown.
Y'all guys go enjoy SmackDown. Like I say, I think we'll probably I maybe go live tomorrow for the backlash. Like I say, it's not a strong card, guys. We'll see. I'll debate about it. Me and Final Boss might talk about it, but you have to stick around and see. Other than that, Final Boss, always thank you for gracing us with your presence and your beauty, Final Boss. Like I say, you guys go give her a follow. And shouts out to Reggie back there. He was just hanging back there in the back today, just hanging out with the cool kids. See what I did there? All right, bye. And
Oh
always
no, you'll get us
remember,
canceled.
there's
Um,
only one. Oh Lord. Always remember, there's only one WWE, and there's only
you
one
damn right.
DWE TV,
There's only
the
one WWE.
television.
That
So
is true. That is
subscribe.
true.
That is
Television,
true. But one
radio,
DWE,
true.
DWE, and there's only one DWE radio. And guess what? There's only one DWE television that comes live to your phone, radio, or wherever you're tuning in from us at.
Radio, phone.
Always